Hey y'all, Rob the American here, and welcome to Tales of Manchester and of Watches. Now today, y'all, we're going to do something a little bit different. And I've been doing a little bit of thinking, and I know I've been straining myself. The question that keeps coming up to me is, Rob, why do you do these videos about Manchester and of watches? The two don't seem to be related. And I think that's a fair question because they're actually not really related. But when I started my YouTube channel, the idea is that I wanted to focus on things that I'm passionate about. And two of the things I'm most passionate about is the city of Manchester and of watches. Now, I've lived in Manchester for, it'll be, 12 years in August. So I'm not a tourist anymore. And I love this city, and I feel like it's not that it's neglected, but it's not appreciated as much as it could be. So that's one of my passions. And the other passion, of course, is my hobby of wristwatches. And if in the watch community, there are tons of YouTube videos of reviewers and all kinds of stuff. People that and they do a great job, and I watch them and stuff like that. But I didn't want to be that person. Another person who reviews watches. Okay, this watch is 37 millimeters in diameter and costs this and like this and that. That's been done, and it's done way better than I could ever do. And I just really wanted to kind of have a conversation and talk about it in terms of what I find interesting, and hopefully other people will, will find it interesting, and that's how those two things came together. So yeah, it may not be the most seamless mix, but you know what? It's my channel, and I'm going to do that if I want to. All right. And today I am focused on watches I'm obsessed with. Now, when I say obsessed with, these are watches that I would love to have, but I don't currently own. And that could be for various reasons. It might be that they've been unavailable, or the price is, let's say, healthy. But for whatever reason, now these are all watches that I've tried on and I love, but don't own. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the watch. I'm going to put up a picture and show y'all, and we'll see what you think. So it's a lovely day, y'all. I'm sitting out here with my Diet Pepsi and my Tudor Blancpain 54 and enjoying being outside. All right. Now, my first obsession is the Rolex 1908. Now, this watch was first announced by Rolex at Watches and Wonders in April of 2023. Now, for those of you that don't know, Watches and Wonders is kind of like the Super Bowl for watch nerds. And it takes place every year in Geneva, Switzerland. And a lot of the big watch players come together and have a huge event with debuts and shows and, all this kind of stuff. And Rolex announced it then and there. Now, the thing about Rolex is just because they announce it does not mean it's going to come out anytime soon. And sure enough, oh gosh, I asked my dealer right away. I said, hey, when are y'all gonna get that? And of course he had no idea. And oh God, at some point I just stopped asking for it. So I was at the dealers, I guess in October of 2023. And we were looking at watches like I always do, and talking and catching up and all that kind of stuff. And I said, what do y'all have new? What you got? And so he disappears and he shows me some stuff, and I'm looking at it and all this stuff, and he goes, I think I've got one more that you might be interested in. And he disappears again, and all of a sudden he comes out with the 1908. And I was in shock. I was in shock because I didn't expect it. Now the 1908 comes in 4 versions. They're either white gold or white gold or yellow gold with a white dial or black dial. So there's 4 different configurations. And to me, as you'll see, the one that speaks to me the most is the yellow gold with the white dial. It's stunning, stunning. Now, when I took pictures of it on my wrist, my watch friend said, "Hey, Rob." Now, these are all watch hardcore dies. They said, that's just a ripoff of the Patek Calatrava. And I'll show you a picture of the Calatrava. It does look similar. There's no doubt. That's kind of the OG. And what I said to them is, I've tried that on. It doesn't suit me. For whatever reason, it doesn't fit my wrist well. But the 1908, it's like butter. It just melts right into your arm. And at that moment, I have been obsessed. Now, they were just actually released into the wild the very, very end of 2023, but not really released massively until January of 2024. And I finally got to the dealer, and they had one, and by the time I got there, it was already sold. I know, tragic, y'all, tragic. But anyway, the 1908 is one I'm currently obsessed with. Another watch I've been obsessed with was also debuted at Watches and Wonders of 2023. And it's by a different company called IWC. Now, IWC is a manufacturer of luxury watches, and it's a company with a long storied history of beautiful watches, pilots' watches, and dress watches. They do some spectacular movements. Now, this watch is a reimagining of a watch that they debuted way back in the 1970s, and it's called the Engineer. Now, for those the watch enthusiasts already know all about this, and I'm not going to go into huge detail about the design or everything, but the original IWC Engineer from the 1970s was designed by a man named Gerald Genta. Now, Gerald Genta, he's kind of like the watch god for the watch community, and that's because he's responsible for designing two of the most well-known watches and iconic watches of all time, and they're still in demand, still very expensive, still hard to get. And those two are the Patek Philippe Nautilus and the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. Those watches are very difficult to get, very, very expensive, beautiful, classic, iconic watches. But the third watch that he designed around at that time was the original IWC Engineer. And for whatever reason, that design, although it's similar, because they have all kind of a similar, relatively similar style design, with bezel and an integrated stainless steel bracelet. The Engineer, the IWC version of that, did not get the love of the other two. And over the decades from the 1970s, IWC changed the design, and I don't know, made all kinds of interesting design decisions with that watch. And just this last year, reintroduced it with the basic original design, updated movements and a bit, but it's basically that watch. And when I saw it, I thought, ooh, that's super interesting. But it wasn't until I put it on my wrist that I became obsessed. Now, there's a lot of other situational things with this watch. Number one, it's been near impossible to get since it was announced April of 2023. Near impossible. You had to get your name on the list. Now, there are four really colors. There's a black, a white silvery, and an aqua blue, very unique, and then a titanium with kind of a gray dial. The most controversial bit of it is the price. Now, I'm not sure how much it is in US dollars, but in British pounds, it's 10,500 pounds, which is a lot. And there have been criticisms of the watch because the movement that's in the watch is also in some of their other models that are much, much less expensive. So there's been a lot of hemming and hawing for that, but it really, until you put it on your wrist, you can't possibly understand how amazing it is. And so I am absolutely obsessed. I'm not put my name on lists or anything, but I've had the chance to try them on, and I hope to have. I was originally wanting the aqua because it's so unique, and the photographs don't even do it justice. I promise. When you see it in person and you put it on, you'll understand. But then I had the opportunity to put the white one on, and that one dazzled too. The dial design is so unique, and in different lights, how it plays with the light, and the style choices and stuff like that. And the bracelet, it's amazing. So that's another obsession of mine. Now y'all are gonna laugh when I talk about my third watch obsession, and that's because you'll think, well, don't you already have that? And my third watch obsession is the Tudor Royal. And you're gonna say, Rob, you've already done a video about the Tudor Royal, and that is true. However, that watch is not mine. It's borrowed from a good pal of mine. But I'm not exactly obsessed with that watch. And the reason being is that when me and a couple of watch pals were making the rounds in St. Anne's Square in Manchester looking at watches, we went into the Tudor place and said hi to all the good folks in there, and just were looking around and all of that. And I saw something I'd never seen before. It was the Tudor Royal in a silver dial. Now, this watch took my breath away. And believe me, y'all, I've seen the blue, and I've seen the salmon, of course, and I love them, and they're so unique. But when I saw the silver dial version, it was like I had never seen the Royal before. And now I am absolutely obsessed with it. Now, that watch could be mine today. But again, it's one that I've enjoying, but I'm just hovering over it. It's like you're a little kid. You feel like you're a little kid when you're a little kid in the store and your mom takes you around, and you want this, 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 and this. And of course, a good parent doesn't give you everything you want, and that's how it is with watches. You can't have everything, and when you can just take everything, you appreciate it less. And that's kind of how it is with this. But I am absolutely obsessed with the 38 millimeter Tudor Royal silver dial with the Roman numerals. It's spectacular, and a great price too. All right, y'all. Another obsession of mine is a watch made by the company Blanc Pon. And Blanc Pon is one of the oldest watch manufacturers still in existence. And they are famous for various watches. And in fact, they've just come out with a collaboration with Swatch for some of their watches. But this watch is nothing like that. I promise y'all. I was in London, a few weeks ago on Bond Street, going into some of the watch boutiques, and I went into Blanc Pon, and they had it. I'd seen it in advertisements, but they had actually had it in it. And have a look at this, y'all. This is a Blanc Pon Perpetual Calendar. It's spectacular. That green dial, wow. I mean, it's stunning. And the gold, there's a lot going on, and yet it works. Now, in the picture, it might look a bit big on my wrist, and that's probably my lack of photograph skills. I should have pulled back a little bit because it makes it looks like it swallows my wrist, but it fits so well, so well. And the lady there, she was super nice, of course, and she said, you can have it today. And to try and sweeten the deal, and this will give you an idea of the price we'd be talking about here. She said, if you buy this watch today, we will fly you to Geneva, Switzerland, and give you a tour of the Breguet factory. I was like, oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. No, I didn't. I didn't take it. But that should give you an idea of if you buy that watch, they give you a free trip to Switzerland, including place to stay and tour and everything like that. So, just to give you an idea, I don't remember the exact price, and this is in Great British pounds, but it was in the 40-something thousand range. So yeah, I mean, the movement and everything, you're like, oh yeah, whatever, 40,000 pounds. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. But this one, I know I will continue to worship from afar. All right, y'all, my final current watch obsession are actually two watches that I've never seen in person before. All right, I'm gonna just give you a clue. They're both gold, but they are both two of the least expensive watches that you can buy, and by far the least expensive watches on my current obsession list. Have a look at these. Wow, those are two classic Casios. I'm old enough to remember when the original Casios with the calculator came on, and that was Nerdsville, and I guess at the time I've grown into a nerd as I've gotten older instead of growing out of it, because I'm obsessed with both of these. Again, I've never tried them on, I've never seen them in person, but I am currently obsessed. All right, y'all, that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed my discussion about watches I'm currently obsessed with. And if you have a watch you're obsessed with, make sure you share it with me down below. Or if you have any thoughts about my obsessions, be sure to share. But remember, be merciful. I'm one small guy. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And join me next time for another interesting story and another super awesome watch. All right, y'all, be well.